For most of the galaxy, Earth was seen as a small and unimportant world. Its people were thought to be new to space, clumsy with their machines, and far behind in knowledge. Many advanced civilizations barely considered humans worth noticing. They believed Earth's ships were slow, its colonies few, and its technology weak. From a distance, Earth looked quiet, harmless, and ordinary. But the truth was very different. Far beyond the reach of normal eyes, hidden deep in the shadows of the solar system, a secret was being kept. Between drifting ice fields and the dark pull of forgotten moons, vast shipyards worked silently. Great towers of steel rose from asteroids hollowed out and filled with machines. Thousands of workers, engineers, and pilots lived in secrecy, building something the galaxy had never seen. This was the Shadow Fleet. It had begun in whispers many generations ago. The earliest space explorers of Earth had seen strange ruins on distant rocks. They found signs of visitors, warnings carved in alien language, and traces of ancient battles that had scarred the stars. From that day, some leaders on Earth understood a simple truth: the universe was not safe. Others out there would not always be friendly. Humanity needed more than hope. It needed a shield. Commander Aaron was one of those who had grown up inside the hidden program. From his earliest years, he had been told the story of the Shadow Gate. The Shadow Gate was not just a structure, it was the heart of the secret fleet. Built in silence and hidden behind cloaking fields, it was a vast circular machine larger than a city. It could open paths through space, bend energy into weapons, and give Earth's fleet the power to stand against any empire. Aaron stood on the bridge of his command ship, looking at the quiet stars. His ship was black like obsidian, its surface made to hide against the darkness of space. Around him, other ships drifted silently, waiting for orders. The fleet did not shine like the proud ships of alien empires. They were ghosts in the night, unseen, but ready. On Earth itself, life went on as normal. People walked on streets, built homes, raised families, and dreamed of brighter futures. They thought the galaxy was still far away, something to be reached slowly in peace. Only a few in secret councils knew the truth that Earth already had one of the most powerful fleets in existence. Ordinary people never knew that their safety depended on the silent watch of the hidden fleet. Aaron often thought about this. He did not resent the people of Earth for living in peace. In fact, he wanted them to remain safe, to remain unafraid. That was why he and his crew trained every day, never asking for recognition. Their reward was knowing that when danger came, they would be ready. The fleet had grown for decades. Each year, new ships joined, carrying weapons designed in secret labs. New engines were tested, faster than anything the rest of the galaxy could imagine. While other civilizations believed humans could barely reach nearby stars, the Shadow Fleet had already mastered travel across wide distances. What they hid was not weakness but strength waiting for its moment. Yet Aaron knew that shadows cannot hide forever. The galaxy was vast and filled with watchers. One day, someone would come close enough to see. And when that day arrived, Earth's secret would no longer be silent. That thought stayed with him as he looked at the Shadow Gate itself. The great ring turned slowly in space, glowing faintly with lines of blue light. It seemed peaceful, almost beautiful, but Aaron knew its purpose. The Shadow Gate was both sword and shield. It had been designed to defend Earth against threats no one else could stop. The fleet's task was clear: watch, wait, and when the time came, strike with the strength of all humanity. For now, the stars remained calm. Reports from scouts showed no unusual movement from other civilizations. But deep inside, Aaron felt a weight in his chest. He could not explain it, but years of training and instinct told him the time of silence was ending. The galaxy's eye would soon fall on Earth. Still, he stood tall on the bridge, his hands resting behind his back. Around him, his officers moved with quiet skill, each of them loyal and disciplined. None of them wore medals, none of them sought glory. They were guardians, sworn to defend without being seen. And though they were hidden, their presence was powerful. Earth slept in peace, unaware of the storm building beyond the edge of sight. And in the far reaches of the solar system, Commander Aaron and the Shadow Fleet kept their watch. They were silent, but not weak. They were hidden, but not helpless. They waited for the day when the shadows would no longer be enough. The Shadow Fleet had waited for years in silence. Its ships remained hidden among asteroids and moons, while the Shadow Gate drifted in the dark with its soft glow. To the rest of the galaxy, Earth was still nothing more than a young world. But Commander Aaron knew the truth. The secret could not last forever. That truth arrived one quiet night. On the outer edge of the solar system, far past Pluto, a listening station detected something unusual. At first, it was only a faint pulse. It repeated at odd intervals, almost like a heartbeat echoing through space. The signal did not match the rhythm of stars or the energy of natural objects. It was too precise, too deliberate. The station's operators, hidden workers of the Shadow Fleet, tried to trace it. The source was beyond the Kuiper belt, far into uncharted darkness. The signal carried a strange tone, as if written in a language not yet understood. Within hours, the report reached Aaron's flagship. On the bridge, Aaron stood silent as the sound played. It was a deep, pulsing note, repeating again and again. His officers exchanged uneasy looks. None of them had heard anything like it before. "This is not background noise," said Mara, his communications officer. "This is a transmission. Someone is sending a warning, or a call." Aaron's eyes narrowed. "Or a threat." The bridge fell quiet. Everyone knew what this meant. The shadows that had hidden Earth for so long might soon be pierced. Aaron ordered the fleet to full readiness. Ships that had drifted silently in the dark powered up their engines. Fighters were moved from hangars to launch bays. The Shadow Gate's glow grew brighter as energy flowed into its core. The time of waiting was ending. On Earth, governments received coded messages. In secret chambers, leaders were told of the signal. They did not reveal it to the public. To ordinary people, life went on as always. Streets filled with children playing, workers building, and families planning futures. But above them, hidden from their eyes, the fleet was preparing for war. Scouts were the first to move. Small, fast ships launched from hidden docks and raced toward the signal. Their task was simple: find the source and report back. For days, they traveled through the dark. They passed frozen rocks and silent comets, moving deeper into space no human had mapped. When the scouts reached the edge of the signal's source, they sent back images. The bridge of Aaron's ship fell silent as the pictures came onto the main screen. There, in the black of space, stood massive shapes. They were not natural. They were ships, but not human ships. Their forms were jagged and long, with glowing red lights along their hulls. Some were as large as cities, others sharp like blades. They floated in formation, waiting. The signal was coming from them. "The Vaner," whispered Ryan, one of Aaron's officers. The name carried weight. Stories had reached Earth through secret channels. The Vaner were conquerors, moving from world to world, enslaving or destroying. No race had ever stood against them for long. Now, they had come to Earth's edge. Aaron studied the images. The Vaner ships did not move closer yet. They were testing, sending out their strange signal, perhaps to measure the response. They still believed Earth was weak, unaware of the shadows waiting. "Prepare the fleet," Aaron said firmly. "But keep cloaked. They must not see us until it is time." The order spread through the fleet. Crews rushed to stations. Engines warmed silently. Weapons powered, their glow hidden beneath layers of dark shielding. The Shadow Gate turned slowly, its hum rising. But the waiting was not easy. Days passed. The signal continued, steady and strong. Each beat echoed like a drum of war. On Earth, leaders grew anxious. Some argued to stay hidden, to let the Vanar pass. Others insisted that humanity had prepared too long to step aside now. Aaron listened to these debates but remained firm. If we wait too long, they will see through our silence, he told his officers. The Vanar will test Earth. And when they do, we must answer. His crew agreed. None of them had trained their whole lives only to hide when the enemy arrived. Finally, a change came. The Vanar ships began to move. Slowly, their vast formation turned toward the solar system. The red lights on their hulls glowed brighter. Scouts reported energy building in their weapons. The first step of invasion had begun. On his bridge, Aaron stood tall. His voice carried across the ship and through the fleet. The signal has spoken. The shadows will now answer. Ready all ships. Power the gate. Around him, officers and pilots worked with steady hands. They were not afraid. For years, they had waited in silence. Now, at last, they would rise. In the distance, the shadow gate pulsed with blue fire, its circle alive with energy. Across the dark, human warships held position, their forms sharp against the stars. The Vanar thought Earth was weak. They would soon learn the truth. The first signal had been sent. The reply would shake the galaxy. The signal had spoken, and the answer was coming. For days, the Vanar fleet moved closer, their massive warships glowing with red light. They advanced like hunters who already believed the prey was caught. Earth, to them, was a small world with little defense. The Vanar had crushed stronger civilizations before, and they expected no resistance here. But this time, they were wrong. From the outer edges of the solar system, Commander Aaron and the Shadow Fleet watched. Hidden among the dark rings of Saturn, the fleet drifted silently. Their ships were cloaked, their energy masked. Hundreds of black warships floated in perfect formation, like shadows waiting for the light to reveal them. Aaron stood on the bridge of his flagship, his eyes fixed on the screen. The Vanar ships were now close enough to be seen in detail. They were enormous, each one shaped like a blade, with jagged armor and glowing cores of red fire. Their sheer size was meant to terrify. Their slow, steady advance showed their arrogance. The Vanar are entering the system, reported Mara, the communications officer. Her voice was steady, but her eyes showed the same tension felt by everyone on the bridge. They think we are weak, said Ryan, the tactical officer. His hands rested on the weapons panel, ready to act. They do not know we are here. Aaron nodded. And they must not know. Not yet. The Shadow Fleet remained still, watching, waiting. The plan was not to strike too early. Timing was everything. The Vanar needed to believe they faced no threat until the trap was ready. Meanwhile, on Earth, life continued. The skies above the planet were calm, with only a few ordinary satellites drifting in orbit. The people below had no idea that war was approaching. They laughed, worked, and dreamed as always, unaware that far beyond their world, a storm of steel and fire was drawing near. In secret chambers, Earth's leaders monitored the situation. Some wanted to open communication with the Vanar, hoping for peace. Others knew the truth: peace was impossible with conquerors. Only the Shadow Fleet stood between Earth and destruction. Out in the darkness, the first clash began. A group of Vanar scouts moved ahead of the main fleet. They were fast ships, sharp and small, designed to test defenses. They crossed Neptune's orbit, sending out pulses of red light as they scanned for human activity. Their signals were loud, arrogant, like predators calling out to prey. Hidden behind Saturn's rings, Aaron gave the order. Send in the interceptors. From the shadows, a squadron of sleek human fighters launched. Their black wings cut through the void as they moved without a sound. They closed the distance quickly, invisible to the Vanar scanners. The first Vayner scout did not even see the attack. A beam of blue energy cut across its hull, and the ship broke apart in silence. The others tried to react, but the human fighters were too fast. Within minutes, the entire scout group was destroyed, their wreckage drifting into darkness. On his bridge, Aaron spoke calmly. No survivors. No signals. They must not warn the fleet. The human fighters returned to their carriers, vanishing back into shadow. The Vayner main fleet continued forward, unaware that their scouts had been lost. Their arrogance blinded them. But Aaron knew this could not last. The Vayner would soon sense something was wrong. And when they realized the truth, the battle would begin. Days passed as the fleets drew closer. The Vayner ships entered the inner solar system, their massive dreadnoughts lighting the dark with red fire. Their formation spread wide, preparing to surround Earth. To them, it was already over. Then came the moment Aaron had been waiting for. "Commander," said Mara, her voice firm. "The Vayner main fleet is in range." Aaron stood tall, his hands clasped behind his back. His eyes shone with determination. "Then it is time. Reveal the fleet." The order was given. All across Saturn's orbit, the cloaks of the Shadow Fleet dropped. One by one, black warships lit up the darkness, their sharp forms glowing with blue energy. Cruisers, carriers, and destroyers emerged in formation, their numbers vast. The silence of the solar system was broken as humanity's hidden power stepped into the light. On the Vayner ships, alarms echoed. Their commanders had expected weakness, but what they saw was a wall of steel and fire. A fleet equal in size to their own, standing ready for battle. The Shadow Gate itself awoke, its great circle blazing with light. The blue fire grew brighter, sending ripples through space. It stood like a sentinel, guarding the heart of the system. Aaron's voice carried across the fleet. "For Earth. For humanity. Hold the line." The officers on every ship repeated the call. Pilots tightened their grips. Crews braced for impact. The time of hiding was over. The Vayner had arrived. And Earth had answered. The solar system had become a battlefield of silence. The Vayner fleet, vast and glowing with red fire, had moved into formation. Their jagged ships were built for destruction, and they advanced without fear. To them, this was only another conquest. Earth was just another world to crush beneath their power. But Earth was not helpless. From the shadows of Saturn, the human fleet had emerged. Hundreds of black warships, sharp as blades, lit the void with blue light. Their sudden appearance shocked the Vayner. What they had expected to be a weak opponent had revealed a force ready for war. At the center of it all, the Shadow Gate began to awaken. The great ring turned slowly, its black surface lined with glowing veins of energy. The soft blue light grew brighter with each second until it shone like a star. For years, it had slept in silence, waiting. Now, as the enemy pressed into the solar system, the Shadow Gate revealed its true power. On the bridge of his flagship, Commander Aaron watched closely. The glow of the gate reflected in his eyes. Around him, officers moved with discipline, their hands steady on controls. There was tension, but not fear. They had trained for this moment all their lives. "The Vayner are charging weapons," reported Ryan, the tactical officer. "They mean to strike first. Then they will learn," Aaron replied calmly. His voice carried across the ship. "Activate the gate. Channel power to the fleet." The order spread. Across the vast structure of the Shadow Gate, lines of light pulsed like rivers of fire. Space itself seemed to bend around it. A low hum shook the air inside every human ship as power flowed from the gate into their weapons and shields. Beams of energy flickered across hulls, feeding strength into the fleet. For the first time, the Vayner realized they faced something beyond their knowledge. Their ships adjusted, red lights glowing brighter, as they prepared to attack. Then, the battle began. A storm of red energy burst from the Vayner fleet, lashing out toward Earth's defenders. The blasts tore across the void, lighting the darkness with deadly fire. But the human fleet did not break. Blue shields flared to life, strengthened by the gate's power. The beams struck, but most were deflected or absorbed. Aaron gave the command. Return fire. Dozens of human warships unleashed their weapons. Streams of blue light cut through space, precise and sharp. The first Vayner cruiser was hit directly, its jagged hull breaking apart in silence. Another ship tried to dodge, but human fighters swarmed around it, their small cannons firing in unison. Explosions rippled through the enemy lines. The Vayner were stunned. They had expected an easy victory, yet the humans fought with skill and strength. Each human ship moved with purpose, their formations perfect. The power of the Shadow Gate turned their weapons into something the galaxy had never seen. Still, the Vayner did not retreat. Their dreadnoughts, massive ships with cores of burning red, moved forward. They unleashed waves of fire, shaking human shields to their limits. Smaller human vessels were struck, breaking apart in flashes of light. The battle was fierce, and losses came on both sides. Aaron remained calm. Hold the line. Do not falter. The gate is with us. Behind the fleet, the Shadow Gate opened further. The center of the ring shimmered, a swirling vortex forming within it. Space bent like water, pulling toward the glowing heart. It was not only a source of power, it was a passage, a weapon, and a shield all in one. Mara, the communications officer, looked at the readings with wide eyes. Commander, the gate is ready. It can channel a strike across the entire enemy formation. Aaron nodded. Do it. The gate pulsed with blinding blue light. A single beam shot from its center, wider than any weapon the fleet possessed. It carved through the void, striking a cluster of Vayner ships. 3 dreadnoughts vanished in the blast, their hulls torn apart like paper. The shock spread through the Vayner fleet. Never before had they seen such power from a world they thought was weak. For the first time, hesitation touched their ranks. But hesitation did not mean surrender. The Vayner gathered their forces, pushing harder. Their largest dreadnought advanced, its weapons glowing brighter than a star. A single blast from it struck a human carrier, tearing it in half. The loss echoed through the fleet, but the humans did not break. Aaron's voice was steady. For every ship we lose, we strike 10 in return. For every blow, we rise stronger. Stand firm. His words carried across the fleet, and morale held. Fighters darted in and out of enemy fire, striking weak points with precision. Cruisers unleashed volleys of blue beams, cutting down enemy destroyers. The Shadow Gate roared with power, each pulse sending shockwaves through the Vayner ranks. The battle raged on, but something had changed. The Vayner no longer saw Earth as prey. They saw a rival, a power that had hidden in silence but now stood revealed. And though the outcome was not yet decided, one truth was clear: the galaxy would never again see humanity as weak. The battle in the solar system raged with a ferocity that few could imagine. Human ships and the Vayner fleet clashed in endless waves of light and energy. The void was filled with glowing beams and explosions, turning the dark silence of space into a storm of fire and power. The Vayner had thought Earth weak. Now they faced a force that matched their might. Commander Aaron watched the screens on his bridge, tracking every move of the enemy. The human fleet had already destroyed dozens of Vayner ships, but the enemy's numbers were immense. The larger dreadnoughts advanced steadily, red cores glowing like stars. Each blast from their weapons tore through shields and hulls. Human ships were being hit, and some carriers were lost. Aaron's jaw tightened. He had trained his fleet for this. He had planned for moments like this. But the breaking point was coming, the moment when skill, courage, and technology would be tested together. "Commander, the enemy dreadnoughts are forming a wedge," said Ryan, his tactical officer. They are pushing to split our fleet. If they succeed, we will lose our advantage. Aaron nodded. Then we hit them before they reach us. Launch all interceptors. Cover the fleet. The human fighters shot out like black arrows through space. They darted between enemy fire, moving with precision and speed that left the Vaynor confused. Smaller ships targeted weak points in the dreadnoughts, hitting engines and weapon arrays. Each strike counted. Mara, the communications officer, checked signals from the fleet. All ships responding. Shields holding. The gate is stabilizing power to every vessel. Aaron allowed himself a small nod. The shadow gate was the key. It was more than a weapon. It connected every ship in the fleet, feeding energy, strengthening shields, and synchronizing weapons. With it, humans could fight as one, while the Vaynor remained divided. Still, the enemy pressed on. One massive Vaynor ship broke through the outer shield and fired at a human cruiser. The explosion shook nearby vessels, sending pieces of debris floating into the void. A shiver ran through the fleet, but Aaron did not falter. "Hold steady," he ordered. "Do not let fear reach your minds. Fight together, fight smart." The pilots responded. Mara guided one squadron to flank the massive dreadnought. Ryan coordinated fire from cruisers, creating a deadly net of energy beams. Smaller Vaynor destroyers tried to escape, but human fighters cut them off, forcing them into direct confrontation. In the chaos, human skill shone. Pilots like Mara and Ryan pushed their ships beyond normal limits, dodging blasts, weaving between debris, and striking precise points on enemy hulls. Every move was careful but daring. They had trained for this, and it showed. Yet even with the Shadow Gate, the enemy was strong. One human destroyer was hit and shattered. Another carrier struggled to maintain its shields. The loss was felt across the fleet, but it did not break the human resolve. Aaron knew the fleet could not fight forever without decisive action. "We must turn the tide now," he said. "Prepare the gate for full channel. Focus on the enemy core." The crew obeyed. The shadow gate began to pulse faster, drawing immense energy from hidden reserves. The blue light grew until it filled space around the ring. The ships of the human fleet glowed brighter as power surged into them. This was not only a battle of fire, it was a battle of will. The humans were ready to push beyond ordinary limits. The Vaynor noticed the change immediately. Their attack slowed as the first volleys from the human fleet struck with unprecedented precision. One dreadnought's engines were crippled, another lost its main weapons array. Human fighters darted through gaps, striking like lightning. Aaron gave the order. "All ships focus fire on the wedge. Destroy their formation." Beams of blue energy shot across space, cutting the Vaynor ships in coordinated strikes. One by one, enemy vessels were hit. The wedge collapsed as dreadnoughts lost balance, flanked by human cruisers and fighters. Explosions lit the void like stars dying in fire. Even in retreat, the Vaynor were dangerous. Their largest dreadnought fired at full power, striking a human cruiser. But the damage only slowed the fleet, it did not stop it. Aaron's forces pressed forward with courage and skill. Hours passed. The breaking point had come and passed. The humans had held. The enemy formation was broken, and the tide of the battle had begun to shift. Human ships, empowered by the Shadow Gate, moved with precision and unity. The Vaynor fleet was shocked. They had expected weakness, not a disciplined force that combined skill, technology, and strategy seamlessly. Aaron looked out at the fleet. His voice was calm but firm. "We have taken the first step. Hold your positions. The battle is not over, but humanity has shown it can fight and win. Today, we prove that no empire can underestimate us." Mara, smiling despite the chaos, replied, "We will not fail, Commander. We are ready for whatever comes next." Ryan nodded, eyes on the screens. The enemy core is still intact. They will not give up easily, but now they know Earth is dangerous. They fear us. Aaron allowed himself a small moment of pride. The breaking point had tested them, and they had passed. The human fleet had endured the storm, fought with courage, and shown that Earth's hidden strength was real. And as the stars continued to shine over the chaos, one thing was certain: humanity was no longer a quiet, harmless world. It was a force to be reckoned with, and the Shadow Fleet would not yield. The Vayner fleet had begun to understand the truth. Earth was not weak. It was a planet that hid strength, patience, and power behind shadows. Their dreadnoughts, once thought unstoppable, had been shattered or crippled. The remaining ships moved cautiously, unsure how to proceed. Commander Aaron watched the enemy closely. He knew that victory was within reach, but it required focus and discipline. One mistake could allow the Vayner to regroup. Yet he saw confidence growing in his fleet. Pilots had learned the enemy's movements, officers coordinated fire with unmatched precision, and the Shadow Gate continued to pour energy into every vessel. "Their formation is collapsing," said Ryan, pointing to the screens. "If we strike now, we can end this." Aaron nodded. "Then we strike. Full power. No mercy. Protect Earth at all costs." The order went out. Across the fleet, ships surged forward, coordinated like a single organism. Fighters darted around massive enemy vessels, striking at engines, weapons, and bridges. Human cruisers fired beams of concentrated energy, tearing apart Vayner shields and hulls. Every strike was precise. Every move counted. The Vayner were confused and shaken. They had fought countless civilizations, but none had moved like this. None had combined intelligence, courage, and technology so perfectly. They were beginning to realize that Earth had been waiting for this moment for centuries. Aaron focused on the largest Vayner dreadnoughts. These ships carried the bulk of the enemy's power, and taking them down would decide the battle. "Gate, channel all energy to the fleet," he commanded. "Target the cores of their main ships." The Shadow Gate pulsed like a heartbeat. Beams of pure blue energy shot from it, spreading to every human vessel. Weapons glowed brighter, shields strengthened, and every ship became an extension of the gate's power. The Vayner commander tried to organize a counterattack, but it was too late. Human fighters struck from every angle, hitting weak points with precision. Cruisers fired coordinated volleys, breaking through even the largest shields. The massive dreadnoughts began to falter, losing engines and weapon systems. Explosions tore through their hulls, sending fragments of red metal into space. One by one, the Vayner ships fell. The smaller destroyers were destroyed in seconds, swallowed by beams of energy or torn apart by fighters. The medium-class cruisers could not escape the deadly precision of the humans. The massive dreadnoughts, pride of the Vayner fleet, were disabled and drifting helplessly. Aaron did not allow the fleet to slow. "No retreat. Keep pushing. Take them all down." The human ships moved like a single unit, covering each other's weaknesses and striking with deadly accuracy. Every attack weakened the Vayner, and every victory strengthened the morale of the human fleet. Pilots like Mara and Ryan performed maneuvers that had been practiced for years. They moved with skill that combined instinct, training, and courage. The Vayner commander realized the situation was hopeless. Their remaining ships tried to retreat, but the Shadow Gate had already predicted their path. Human ships blocked escape routes, cutting them off with beams of energy. One by one, the fleeing dreadnoughts were pulled into a vortex forming at the center of the gate. The vortex was a trap. Ships that entered were not destroyed immediately but trapped in an endless loop of space and energy. The Vayner had never seen such technology. Panic spread among the enemy ranks. They tried to fire, but each attack only made their position worse. Aaron's voice was calm but firm. "Now. End this. Show them the strength of humanity." The fleet focused its fire on the core of the enemy's main formation. The largest dreadnoughts were destroyed, smaller ships were captured by the vortex, and the rest were forced to surrender or flee. Within hours, the Vayner fleet was broken. What had seemed impossible moments ago was now reality. The solar system was quiet again, but the silence was different this time. It was filled with the knowledge of victory. Human ships floated among the remnants of the enemy, their blue glow a reminder that Earth's hidden power had been unleashed. Aaron allowed himself a brief moment of pride. The fleet had done what many thought impossible. They had defeated one of the strongest civilizations in the galaxy. Not with luck, but with skill, courage, and preparation. Mara, standing beside him on the bridge, smiled. "We did it. The Vayner are finished." "Not finished," Aaron replied. "They will remember this day. The galaxy will remember. Humanity will never be underestimated again." Ryan nodded, looking at the scattered debris of enemy ships. The gate was the key. Without it, we could not have won. But our skill and courage made it effective. Aaron turned to his officers. "We protected Earth. We showed the galaxy that humans are not weak. That is what matters." For the first time in centuries, the Shadow Fleet could rest. They had hidden for generations, trained in silence, and prepared for the day the galaxy would come to challenge them. That day had arrived, and humanity had risen. The solar system was safe for now. The Vayner had been defeated, their fleet destroyed or captured. The Shadow Gate remained, a symbol of power and a promise of protection. Earth's hidden fleet had emerged from the shadows, and the galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Commander Aaron looked out at the stars. Humanity had proven itself. And though new challenges would come, the humans were ready. The Shadow Fleet had awakened. The galaxy would never again see Earth as a simple, weak world. The battle was over. The solar system lay quiet, though the scars of conflict floated in the void. Pieces of destroyed Vayner ships drifted among the planets and moons, a silent testament to the power of the Shadow Fleet. Commander Aaron stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the remnants of the enemy fleet. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's strength for the first time. "Is it truly finished?" asked Mara, her voice soft but full of wonder. She had fought bravely, piloting her fighter with skill that had saved countless ships. "Yes," Aaron replied, though he did not relax completely. "The Vayner are broken. Their fleet is gone. But this is only the beginning. The galaxy now knows Earth is not to be underestimated." Ryan stepped forward, looking at the screens showing the aftermath. "They will speak of this battle for generations. Other civilizations will be cautious. We have changed the balance of power." Aaron nodded. "We have done more than survive. We have shown that humans can rise, fight, and win even against the strongest forces. That is the lesson the galaxy must learn." The Shadow Fleet remained in formation, shields active, ready for any possible retaliation. Though the Vayner were defeated, the humans knew the universe was vast and full of unknown threats. Preparation and vigilance would always be necessary. Back on Earth, the news began to leak slowly. At first, governments shared coded reports, revealing the truth to only a few trusted leaders. Citizens noticed that satellites were moving differently, that unusual readings appeared in the sky, and that communication signals had changed. Curiosity and concern spread. People sensed that something extraordinary had happened, though they did not yet understand the full truth. Aaron thought about the people of Earth. They had lived under the shadow of the fleet without ever knowing it. Now, humanity's secret had been revealed to the galaxy, but the people could still live in peace. Their freedom had been defended by those who had waited silently for this day. The Shadow Gate pulsed once more, its blue light reflecting in the eyes of every officer on the bridge. It had served its purpose. Not only had it channeled immense energy to the fleet, but it had also captured and destroyed enemy ships. Its existence was no longer just a secret, It had become a symbol of Earth's determination and skill. "Commander," said Ryan, pointing to distant readings. "Other fleets are observing from far away. They have seen our victory. They will remember it?" "Yes," Aaron replied. "And they will respect us. They may fear us, but respect is what we need. Fear alone cannot protect the galaxy. Humanity must show strength and wisdom together." Mara added, "The people we protect will never know the danger we faced. But they will benefit from it. Their lives, their freedom, and their future are safe because of what we did." Aaron looked out at the stars. He felt pride, not only for the technology of the Shadow Fleet but for the courage of every human who had fought. The fleet had been built in secrecy, trained for decades, and now had proven its worth. The galaxy had learned that humans were capable of extraordinary feats. "Prepare a message for the other civilizations," Aaron commanded. "Let them know that Earth is a protector, not a threat to peace. But also make it clear we will defend ourselves and those who cannot." The officers nodded, and communications teams began crafting the transmission. Every word was measured, every phrase designed to show humanity's strength without inviting unnecessary conflict. Meanwhile, the surviving Vayner ships were retreating, their numbers greatly reduced. They would carry the memory of this defeat across the galaxy. Other civilizations, hearing the stories, would begin to reassess their assumptions about Earth. The quiet planet they had ignored was now a power to be respected. The Shadow Fleet began to return to its hidden positions, though not to the same secrecy as before. Earth had stepped forward. Its hidden strength had been revealed, and the galaxy had changed because of it. Aaron addressed his officers one final time. "We have fought for Earth, for our people, and for the right to exist freely. We have proven that humans can rise against impossible odds. Remember this day, and remember why we fight. The galaxy may challenge us again, but we will be ready." Mara smiled. "It is more than victory. It is proof that humans can achieve what others believe impossible." Ryan added, "And we will continue to do so. The Shadow Fleet will always be ready, and humanity will always stand tall." Commander Aaron looked at the stars one last time before leaving the bridge. The solar system was safe. Earth had survived. Humanity had risen from the shadows and shown that it was not weak, not fragile, and not alone. The galaxy had seen the power of humans. And the message was clear: from now on, Earth would no longer be underestimated. Humanity had stepped forward. The Shadow Gate and the Hidden Fleet had revealed a simple truth: the people of Earth were capable of anything when they stood together. The galaxy would never forget the day that humanity rose from the shadows and claimed its place among the stars.